සියලු දෙනාටම තෙරුවන් සරණයි. අපි චාරිත්‍රානුකූලව ධර්ම දේශනාව ආරම්භ කරමු. සමන්ත චක්කවාලේසු අත්‍රා ගච්ඡන්තු දේවතා සද්ධම්මං මුනි රාජස් සුනන්තු සග්ග මොක්ඛදං ධම්මස්සවන කාලෝ අයං බදන්තා ධම්මස්සවන කාලෝ අයං භදන්තා ධම්මස්සවන කාලෝ අයං බදන්තා නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස සුකෝ බුද්ධානං උප්පාදෝ සුඛා සද්ධම්ම දේශනා සුඛා සංඝස්ස සමග්ගී සමග්ගානම් තපෝ සුඛෝති. Venerable sirs, dear friends in Dhamma, celebrating Buddha's birthday, we all gathered to discuss Dhamma. Today my topic is how we can be happy, rising of the Buddha, or how we can develop our happiness because of the Buddha. Sukho buddhanang uppado, sukha saddhamma desana, sukha sanghasa samaggi samagganang tapo sukho. Happy is the rising of the Buddha. Happy is the exposition of the true Dhamma. Happy is the harmony amongst the Sangha. Happy is the practice of those who are in harmony. In here, few things mentioned in this stanza. You can see this stanza in few places. Very closely, you always associate the Dhammapada. You can find this stanza in Dhammapada, many other places also. Sukho buddhanang uppado. Happy is the rising of the Buddha. How we can gain happiness because of the Buddha's birth? This is the good time to think about, and this is the best time to analyze this happiness. What the Buddha meant in this particular stanza. There were 500 monks who were discussing the question, what constitutes happiness? These bhikkhus realized that happiness means different into different people. Thus they said to some people, to have the riches and glory like that of kings is happiness. To some people, sensual pleasure is happiness. But to others, to have good rice cooked with the meat and that is their happiness. While they were talking, the Buddha came into the Sangha hall, or where monks gathered. And then Buddha asked, what kind of topic you were discussing when I'm coming to this Dhamma hall? Then the bhikkhus replied, pleasure you have mentioned in different ways. We were discussing about happiness. Then Buddha delivered this stanza, benefits for those monks who asked that questions from the Buddha. Now we have to analyze it, and then we have to apply this stanza into our life to realize happiness. What does mean this happiness? Happiness might be different according to their capacity, according to their wishes, according to their goals, according to their mental capacity, which is most important. You might have some experience. People who are engaging with some unwholesome actions like killing, stealing, and doing some harmful things to others. Doing so, they can be happy. Some people who are engaging with hunting, going into forest to do some hunting and then taking their aims, and finally when they're able to kill any creatures, any living beings, then they're ready to jump up and excited, very joyfully they're ready to announce, yes, I did it. This is also kind of happiness. Buddha's rise when Buddha is ready to come to this world, when Buddha came to this world, how those kind of people can happy because of the Buddha. It's not happening in that way. Therefore, it is depend on their mental capacity. A rising of the Buddha is happy for us who has a goal to liberate from this samsaric journey, who has goal to eliminate all the defilements from our mind. As you know, if you are living with unhappy thoughts, might be anger, might be stress, anxiety, how you can be happy? There is no way to be happy. So you know, all these mental defilements not help us to be happy. Then we know we have to control those defilements, or we have to reduce these defilements, or we have to eliminate these defilements to be happy. Buddha is the person who came to this world to introduce this method. Buddha is not a god who is come from another realms. Buddha born into this human world with the help of his parents, Suddhodana, King Suddhodana and Queen Mahamaya. So he applied a method himself and tested himself, research and re-research. Doing so, all these investigations, then finally he realized the path how we can liberate. Using that method, and then he liberated this samsaric journey, this unhappy, suffering world, and then he start to teach to others to find out, to find their own liberation. Buddha is not a messenger. He didn't deliver any message from any other realms or any other superpower. His message, he created, he found it, and then he started to teach to others. In Dhammaniyamata Sutta, Buddha directly explained, Uppadava bhikkhave tathagatādam anuppādava tathagatādam titava sa dhammatitita dhamma niyamata sabbe sankara anicca. Bhikkhu, whether Tathagata appear or do not appear, there is this established eternal element of Dhamma. This fixed law of Dhamma, all that is conditioned is impermanent. Whether Buddha come to this world or not, this Dhamma exists. Then it's clearly we can understand Buddha didn't say anything beyond this truth. I mean, this truth is eternal, it is natural law, it is exists in this world, but unfortunately, before the Buddha, no one was able to realize that truth. Appearance of the Buddha, he found a path himself and then was able to give clear directions for us to apply this method and find our own liberation. But what Buddha said, Tummehi kichang atappa akhataro tathagato. I'm just a teacher. Only thing that I can do, just give a directions for you. You are the person who is responsible for to go to that path, to continue that path, or going away from that path. Therefore, our liberation not depending on the Buddha. Our liberation not depending on the Dhamma. We use Dhamma as guidelines. Dhamma is our teacher, our leader, our path. Buddha was a role model for us. Having all these things, now we can clearly see, and also if we have any trouble, any matters regarding the path or guidance, then we can connect with this Dhamma and then we can clarify. We can clarify the path. This is the way how we should do. But around the world today, we know there are so many questions, so many arguments, debate. They create those debates for what? To just waste the time. We're not supposed to waste this time because we born to this world as a human being because with the help of our wholesome karma, what we done in this samsaric journey. As a result of that wholesome karma, we got this wonderful opportunity, then we should use this wonderful opportunity for our own liberation. Then now we have to focus toward to the Buddha's teaching. What Buddha gave us, what are the directions, what are the guidance that Buddha gave us for us. There are so many guidance given by the Buddha. You might have some experience reading Tripitaka, particularly Sutta Pitaka, and you might learn so many things from all these suttas. Just only this Sutta Pitaka, we have 18,000 discourses delivered by Buddha. Just only Sutta Pitaka. And Abhidhamma, there are so many other. There are 7 books in Abhidhamma. And Vinaya, the content of Vinaya, there are so many guidance, instructions, teachings. All together we can see how much guidance we have to apply our day-to-day life. You might get upset how I can gain all this knowledge to practice myself. But simply, Buddha gave us the directions, summarizing all these discourses that delivered by the Buddha in one stanza. Sabba papassa akaranam kusalassa upasampada sachitta paryodapanam Etang Buddha Sasana. This stanza is very familiar in Buddhist culture, in Buddhist society. So I think you might heard, you might have ability to memorize this stanza. Now, better to focus to this stanza, what meant by the Buddha in this particular stanza. Sabba papas sakarana, not to do evil. Kusala upasampada, to cultivate merit or wholesome. Sachitta pariyodapanam, to purify one's mind. Etam Buddhan Sasanam. This is the teachings of the Buddhas, not just Sakyamuni Gautama Buddha. These are the teachings, this is the teachings of all Buddha who was and who will be. This is the universe, this is the nature of the universal truth. This truth never changing. It will exist forever. This is the only thing what we can see, what we can say. This is the only thing what we experience, existing thing in this world, in this universe. So, what does it mean not to do evil? How we can recognize evil things? I know traditionally, Buddhists ready to say, oh, breaking precepts is the evil thing. That is true, but we have to go beyond that. We have to get into the grassroots level, which is very important. I would like to analyze in this way. In Rahulavada Sutta, Buddha had given us a formula to realize how we can recognize evil thing or wholesome thing. Whether it is wholesome or unwholesome, we can recognize applying this formula. What is it? Attabhyapadaya visangatati, parabhyapadaya visangatati, ubhyabhyapadaya visangatati. Which is harmful to you? Which is harmful to others? Which is harmful to both? It is evil. Very simple. Which is useful to you, which is useful to others, which is useful to both, that is wholesome. This is the way how we can recognize about our actions, about our word, about our behavior, about the things what we are engaging. This is the way how we can recognize. Now, as Buddhist follower, you know breaking precepts is the main thing. But that's not enough. That's not enough mean even sometimes we may not really understand the meaning of all these stanzas. For example, Adinnadana Veramani Sikkhapada Samadhyami. I abstain from stealing. Abstaining from stealing means generally you ready to take as, okay, if something belongs to someone like money or some materialistic things, without their permission, if I'm taking, that is the only thing that it's going to break that precepts. This is the general idea what we can see, that we can see in the world, especially with the Buddhist, traditional Buddhist people, but that's not. It's go beyond that. Person who is in an office to do a job, that person have policies, ethics, rules, regulations. If that person is not following all these ethics, rules, regulations, he is also breaking that precepts. He is also breaking that precepts. Adinadana means not just taking money without their permission. Even if you are wasting time, that is also Adinadana. The children who is going to school, that children has a promises with their parents and the teachers. What kind of promises they does? Mom, dad, their parents help those kids, take care and everything, providing all the facilities. What is the ambitions what the parents have? Oh, my son, my daughter, they are in this grade. They are living, they are doing very great job in this classroom. I want to see one day in future my daughter or son in this level achievements, graduating from universities, graduating from postgraduate degrees. They have that goal. If the kids are not able to do that, so then they are also breaking that precepts. Who are not perform their job perfectly in best way, they are also in that particular way breaking the precepts. Now you can see how deep is that precepts, one precepts. How deep is? So Adinadana means not just taking money from others without their permission. There are so many things that much deep. Sabba Papa Sakaran mean no one supposed to do any of these evil things. Just you can apply that formula that we can get through Rahulawada Sutta. Just think about whether it is harmful to you, whether it is harmful to others, whether it is harmful to both. That's it. Analyze in this way, we can see, we can realize what we are doing. So we realize in ourselves, then we have to put effort to develop our wholesomeness or not to do evil things. Not to do evil things. Around the world, we know there are so many people who don't know what we have to do. There are so many people blind. Blind means not physical blind, mentally blind. They don't have thinking ability. They're not able to think deeply and widely. So all the time they make trouble. They make so many harmful things themselves and to others, which we're not supposed to do. That's why thoroughly we have to give this message to our consciousness, our mind. I'm not supposed to do any evil things because I'm going to destroy my humanity if I'm engaged in those kind of things. Why I'm saying so? Because just take the five precepts. No need to go beyond that. Killing, to understand killing is harmful thing. Do you need any religion for that? Do you need any teaching for that? No need. Why? You can see it through yourself. If someone coming to do some harmful things for you, do you like it? If someone hurting you, do you like it? If someone teasing you, if someone doing sometimes some kind of uncomfortable things for you, do you like it? No, you don't like it. Same way, think in other way. if I don't like that things to happening to me, how others like it from me? Attanang upamang khatta. Take you as example. What you don't like, don't do it to others. What you don't like, give that message to your consciousness. That is the thing others also don't like. Very really you can see through this formula. Very clearly you can see through this formula what we can get this formula from Rahulawada Sutta. Then evil things is creating unwholesome situation, unwholesome states in our mind. If you have that unwholesome state in your mind, you are not the persons to think. You are not the persons to see things very clearly. You become blind person mentally. If you came to that state, if you come to that state, then this human life will become useless. This human life become full with unhumanistic. If you in this state, then happiness will disappear from you. There is no way to gain your happiness. There is no way to develop your happiness doing in this way. So that's why Buddha said, don't do evil in your whole life. Not just only to realize Four Noble Truth, not just only to apply Noble Eightfold Path. As a human being, if you want to be happy, if you are willing to develop your happiness, if you are try to gain your happiness, you're not supposed to do any evil things. Because all these evil things create so many unhappy situations, unhappy status in your mind. As you know, very famous theory from Isaac Newton, every action has a reaction. Actually, this theory is not that directly coming from Isaac Newton. Before Isaac Newton, the Buddha made this theory, but unfortunately, that message did not spread around the world. How was the Buddha's theory? Every volitional action has a reaction. Every volitional action has a reaction. Not just action has a reaction. Every volitional action has a reaction. Chetanam bhikkhave kammang vadami. Chetayitva kammang karoti. It's not become all actions if you are not connecting with your mind. If you don't have that mentality to do that. When you connecting with your mind, that is the real way to become, it's become to karma. That's why volitional action has a reaction. When it's became a karma, then definitely it has a result. Kamma vipaka vattanti. Vipako kamma sambhava. Kamma vipaka vattanti. Every volitional action has a reaction. Not only that, vipako kamma sambhava. We born to this world as a result of our karma done by in our previous life. Now what we do, we accumulate in karma again each and every moment. Each and every moment we accumulate in karma. How it's come? Through our five faculties. In Majjhima Nikaya, there is a particular discourse, better to read it, Madhupindika Sutta, honey bowl discourse. In Madhupindika Sutta explain how we see pictures, how we get sounds, how we hear sounds, how we taste food. We normally think, through my eyes I can see picture, through my ear I can hear voice, through my nose I can get a smell, through my tongue I can taste food. But in Madhupindika Sutta, it's explained, Chakkuncha paticca rupe uppajjati. Whenever is there eye, against the eye you can see a picture. When these two get together, then there is another things which we call eye consciousness, Chakku Vijnana. Chakku Vijnana. Chakku Vijnana is not belongs to any materialistic thing. Chakku Vijnana is not material. It is part of your mind. Tinnan Sangati Passo. Contact all these three together. It's happening according to your mental capacity. When you contact through your eye consciousness, then you're ready to develop all these other things after that. After that, you might have, I like to summarize it, not going to further away to the Sutta, what Sutta explained. I want to get this thing very particularly. When you have that eye consciousness, all these three contacting together, then as a result of that, then you're ready to get, oh, there's a picture. I like it, it's beautiful. Oh, that picture, I don't like it, it's ugly. These two kind of thoughts will arise in your mind. Not only that, there is a third one, neither beautiful, neither ugly. You're not ready to, you don't have feeling, or whether, you not recognize it as a beautiful thing or ugly thing. Kind of neutral feelings will be there. But all these mental states directly connect with your avidya, ignorance. Then you know, according to the Paticca Sampada, avidya pacha sankhara. Because of that avidya, ignorance, then you're ready to cling those things, accumulate these things. In our whole life, how long we are living, it doesn't matter. What we do, we see pictures, we hear voices, we taste, we smell. Every and each moment, when we engage in with all these activities, we accumulate in karma. We accumulate karma. We accumulate karma, but sometimes you not recognize as a karma all these things. But all these things karma because you in that three baskets. Which are those? Good, bad, or according to the vision, we can say beautiful and ugly, neutral. You don't recognize this as a beautiful or ugly. You have neutral. This is the mundane way how we deal in this world, in our whole life. Why Buddha said not to do evil, it means if someone can stay without taking this in this way, to develop their equanimity, upekha. That is the thing that we should do. That is the thing that we apply in our day-to-day life. That's why we need not to do evil. If you are engaging in this manner, seeing things as beautiful and ugly, hearing things as beautiful and you like it and dislike, in this manner, all the time we accumulate in unwholesome karma. We born to this world as a human being having a particular thoughts. What is it? It is to attain eternal happiness. What does it mean? Eternal happiness means attaining enlightenment. Around the world, we born to this world, and then with the help of the environments, then we start to maintain different goals in our life. But in this human life is very particular, very special, but we got put in our full effort and also making so many wishes in our previous lives. As a result of those wholesomeness and wishes, we got this life. Being born a human being, if you're ready to make another different goals for your life, then we misuse this opportunity. This time period is very important because now everywhere we're talking about the Buddha and his teaching. Now we can see, now we can understand how we can apply this method, how we can use this method to keep up, to uplift our humanity, our human quality. That is our responsibility. Then as a first thing, we have to recognize what is good, what is bad, what is wholesome, what is unwholesome. Then don't do any evil. Don't do any evil, harmful things. To explain this particular sentence, we can use whole Tripitaka. In Mangala Sutta, you know, Asevanacha Balanam, starting from that, there are 38 facts. All these facts talking about this evil thing. In Singalovada Sutta, there are so many explanations for this. Parabhava Sutta, Vasala Sutta, all these suttas are explaining what is evil. In this manner, we can recognize, we can understand evil things. That's not enough. Understanding is not enough. We have to put effort to get rid of those things from our behavior, our action. We have to have a courage, determinations to not to do evil. It doesn't matter whether you are in school, kindergarten, or pre-K, it doesn't matter. We all, as a human being, have this responsibility to avoid, to avoiding these unwholesome, evil things, and also to develop wholesome, happy things, which is directly help us to develop our humanity. Developing humanity, uplifting our human qualities, make wonderful things in our life, which we call concentration. Natti janang apanyassa panya natti ajayatu. Yammi janancha panyaya save nibbana santiki. Natti janang apanyassa. If you don't have concentration, there is no way to gain your wisdom. There is no concentration without wisdom, no wisdom without concentration. We apply all these methods, what meant in all these discourses, for what? To develop our concentration. Why we not to do evil things? Because it is directly cause for unhappiness or to destroy our concentration. Very simply, you can see it. If we did some harmful things, if we did any kind of unwholesome action, how would be your mind? If we engage any kind of unwholesome thing, how would be your mind? It's full with fear and doubt. There is no doubt about that. There is exactly you develop your fear, also doubt, if you engage with any kind of unwholesome actions. This is natural law. This is one of natural law. It is not just only for Buddhists. One day when I was giving Dhamma talk, I explained this, and then someone after my Dhamma talk, he said, okay, Bhante, if I don't know any precepts, if I don't know any other things about the Buddhism, then I might not have any feelings if I'm engaging with killing or stealing or anything. I said, okay, take it in this way. The things what you have now, just focus to your pen, very small thing, $1, $2 thing. But you very attached to that, your pen, what you are using. If someone taken it from you, do you like it? No, I don't like it. I like to have it with me. So, to understand it, do you need any Dhamma? Do you need any particular teachings? No, you don't need it. Therefore, to understand killing or stealing or any of these, what explained in the precepts, to understand these basic things, you don't need to have any particular religion or any particular teachings. Those are very simple things, day-to-day things that you have, that you are engaging. Very simple, you can understand those things. Understanding those things, we have to respect that natural law, not because of Buddhists, because of human beings. Why? We all are performing all these things in day-to-day life. hoping gain happiness. Our goal is to develop our happiness. Then Buddha said, if you want to be happy, you're not supposed to do any of these unhumanistic things. Unhumanistic things. You're not supposed to engage any of these harmful things for others. If you are engaging any of these harmful things for others without thinking yourself, you are harming to yourself. But sometimes you may not able to see it because your mind full with cloud. In the society as a mundane person, you might have so many opportunity to associate people who are engaging with those kind of harmful things. As a monk, we don't have, because we don't know their mundane life. We are living in the temple, they are living in the society. You know, I have wonderful experience. Once I was living in a very particular area, Vilpattu jungle, very close to Vilpattu jungle. Where I was residing, that village had 5 water resources, which we call well. All these water resources have so many things, and particularly lot of fish. When we are crossing any region in that area, who are fishing, who are engaging with those fishing, they're ready to keep away all their stuff, and then they're ready to sit in having some discussions. If they have some others having some discussion, look like they're trying to show, oh, we are good people, we are not doing any harmful things to this fish. They are trying to do. In this way, all the time we can see good people as a monk. So we don't have idea how people engage in with unwholesome activities, evil things, how they do evil things. But you as a person who is living with those people have that experience, and then check with their mind. If someone engaging with any of these evil things, check their mind whether that person live with happily or not. What kind of mentality that person have? Is he really living doubtfully? Is he really living with the fear? You can check with that person. That is kind of experience you can do. I have some idea about that too. When the Vesak season is come, there are so many Damsal, Vesak pandals, Vesak decorations, doing by so many people, in particularly traditional country like Sri Lanka, who are engaging with those things. Who are the sponsors for those things? Might be person. Analyze yourself, don't believe it. Who are the, person who not following precepts, who is not following Buddha's guidance in their day-to-day life, they are the people main responsible for all these things. Check, analyze. Why? They live in their whole life with fear and doubt. To get some kind of happiness, they're ready to spend so much money. They spend money. For what? For their happiness, temporary happy, to be temporary happy. That's why they do that. This is my assume. This might be right or wrong. I don't know. This is my assume, seen all these things in Sri Lanka, particularly. Some other countries also. Why? If you do evil things, this is the nature. You live with doubt, you live with fear. Therefore, don't do any evil thing. Kusala suprasampada. Then what we should do? We should do wholesome actions. What are the wholesome actions? What are the wholesome actions which is useful to you, which is useful to others, which is useful to both? These are the wholesome actions. That wholesome action always create happy thoughts in your mind. That is the universal law. It is not created by somebody else. So, as a Buddhist follower, this is the real way that we can respect the Buddha, to gratitude the Buddha, apply this method and practice it. Buddha never asking, claiming, oh, you're supposed to light candles for me, you're supposed to bring flowers for me. Buddha never asked. He never claimed in this way. What Buddha said, follow my Dhamma. There was a wonderful story in Parinibbana, regarding Parinibbana Sutta, in Parinibbana moment. Buddha was lying on deathbed. Bhante Ananda and all other monks were lamenting. There was a particular monk who was away from all these monks and then he started to practice meditation. Mundane monks were surprising and then they complained to each other, see, Buddha is going to die. That monk, he didn't care about any of these things. He's practicing meditation. By listening this, Buddha said, he is my real son. He wanted to get rid of these all defilements before death of the Buddha, before dying. He is my real son. So, doing good things mean, accumulating wholesome things mean, that is the real advice of the Buddha. Following this method, applying this method, we should develop our humanity. That is our goal. That is our ambitious. That is our achievements that we try to do in our whole life. The third one is control your mind. Controlling your mind means control your unwholesome thoughts and cultivate wholesomeness in your mind. Etam Buddhanusasanam. This is the teachings of all Buddhas, not just Shakyamuni Gautama Buddha. I think we may not have opportunity to take in deeper way. I just gave a summary. Using this summary, you can develop yourself. Developing yourself, try to respect to gratitude to Buddha in real way. This is the best time to think about that. This is the best situation. Especially, we all are quarantined these days. This quarantine moment is the best moment that we can apply this method to our day-to-day life, to develop our wholesomeness. Around the world, people are suffering because of the isolation, because they have a limitation to go out. But use this opportunity. Using this opportunity, we can develop our mind. Dear friends, in this century, we had so many things, but we fail in this current, with this current situation. We fail. Our health system is failed. Our education system is failed. Whatever the materialistic life we had, it's also failed. We, as a human being, became very useless, very isolated, without doing nothing. Now, using all these experiences, what we are facing today, focus our mind to apply this method to get rid suffering, to get rid unwholesomeness from our mind. Whatever the things that we can achieve through this materialistic life, those things will become useless. Those things not able to use to develop our eternal happiness, real happiness, those things not helping us to develop our humanity. So friends, now it is time to focus toward to ourselves. It is real time to apply the message of the Buddha to our day-to-day life, to develop our mind, to get rid this sufferingful life, to eliminate all unwholesome things from our mind. We can liberate ourselves if we are able to apply this method to our day-to-day life. That is my last message for you all. Thank you very much for participating in this program, and also I would like to thank you, Venerable Anuruddha. He did great things. I think he sacrificed his time and all things, benefits for yourself. It is also great dana. And also, I think today this program is sponsored by Mr. Ananda Mahinkandan, which is Asoka. Dhammadana is the greatest dana that we can perform. You already perform it. And listening to this Dhamma and offering this opportunity to others, you all accumulated merits. Now it is time to share merits with the departed relatives, particularly Anuruddha Hamaguru's Loku Hamaguru, who passed away 2 years ago, and also Anuruddha Hamaguru's father, who passed away a few years ago, Asoka Mahatya, Ananda Mahatya, father, who passed away a year ago, and also Sokanona's relatives, so both of your name who departed from, and also the other listeners who departed from name of you. We can focus toward to all of them by the power of all these merits who departed from us. They rejoice these merits, rejoicing, may they be well, happy and peaceful. May they have happy life, having that aspiration. You can say sadhu, sadhu, to share merits with departed one. And also, deities who protect this world, rejoice these merits, rejoicing these merits, may they able to develop their life, their glorious, and also they make wishes, may they protect us, may they able to attain ultimate bliss of Nibbana, having that aspiration, say sadhu, sadhu, to share merits with the deities. You all be well, happy and peaceful. Whatever the difficulties you have, all your difficulties get rid by the power of all these merits what done by in this moment. And also around the world, people who are suffering from corona and all other disease, may they get recover soon. May they have happy and peaceful life, having that aspiration we can share. And also we can share the spirits. Also we can make a determination, wishes, all of, on behalf of all of us. May we all able to attain ultimate bliss of Nibbana, having that aspiration, say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Akasattha Chubummattha Devanaga Mahidika Punyantang Anumoditta Chirang Rakkhantu Loka Sasanang Akasattha Chubummattha Devanaga Mahidika Punyantang Anumoditta Chirang Rakkhantu Desanang Akasattha Chubummattha Devanaga Mahidika Punyantang Anumoditta Chirang Rakkhantu Tang Sada Dukkhapatta cha nidukkha, bhayapatta cha nibhaya, sokapatta cha nisoka, hantu sabbhe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. Thank you. May the triple gem blessing upon you.